My name is Samuel Miranda, aka in the dance circle, I'm known as Ringo. I'm known as a second generation rocker. I started off in 1973 at the age of 10, but I wasn't a rocker then, I was a freestyler. Okay, where I got my dance styles back in those days were from watching variety shows alongside my mother. I seen them all. Ed Sullivan, Lawrence Welk, all the black and white movies with all the great dancers, Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers, Sammy Davis Jr. And by watching all these movies with my mother and all these variety shows, I started to like the dance and the music, of course. So every now and then I caught myself practicing in front of the mirror of what movies I was watching and what I learned from the movies back in the 70s. Now when people watch me dance, they ask me, where'd you get that style from? I don't say I learned it from Coney Island or Bushwick or East New York. I learned it from variety shows. I keep it real. All right, even though the gangsters in my neighborhood were doing what's called the Indian dance, the outlaw burn dance, because it wasn't called rocking, it was called burning. So you had two sets of groups out there. You had the burners and the freestylers, the disco people, the early disco people. But I used to watch the outlaw guys. So by the time I got to the park, I already had all my moves together. And I was in the park just doing all my moves. Now, people see my bounce and they think that I learned it from a rocking style. My bounce does not come from a rocking style. It comes from the great Michael Jackson, a young Michael Jackson. If you watch ABC on Ed Sullivan, when he sang the ABC song, and you see him bouncing, I fell in love with that move, and I copied it, and I made it my own. So whenever I take a move, I switch it, I flip it, and I make it mine. So like I said, I've been dancing since '73. By the time I became a burner, it was in '75. '74 to '75. '74, I started learning the burns, copying all the stabbings and all that. '75, I had enough of the burns. I was already a full-blown freestyler. I already knew how to hustle at that age. I was a hustle dancer also. So what I did is I entwined all that I learned and I created my style. While everybody was doing a certain style, I was creating Ringo's style, Ringo's pattern. And I rocked all those years by myself. I never was in a crew. Although at about 14, I became in a crew called the Latin Dancers, which were just basically salsa dancers and hustle dancers. I was the only rocker until I met my partner, Willie Beretta Torres, from the south side of Brooklyn. You know, so me and him became partners, and we were the only rockers in this crew. So lo and behold, we just started rocking. Now when rocking became mainstream, in the middle 70s, late 70s, became mainstream. When I mean mainstream, now everyone was doing it. Before, the only ones that were burning were gangsters, you know, and you had a few guys from the clubs that were do freestyle and all that.
Go back to when you say mainstream. Mainstream within New York or mainstream with what?
No, mainstream in New York. This dance is, it was spawned out of New York City, from the ghettos of New York City. We didn't have PlayStation, we had dance and box ball. So this was the poor man's dance. When finally the dance became mainstream, meaning you were allowed to go to anybody's neighborhood and dance or out of the neighborhood. Okay, the second generations, guys like me were already dancing and we created a different style. I had my style already and you had guys like in other neighborhoods with their styles. Okay, so now everybody was starting to leave their neighborhoods and dance and meet each other and dance each other in the clubs, over at Coney Island, by the Pole Express, in the Himalaya, or in the streets. Because back before it became mainstream, if I had gone to Knickerbocker, Bushwick, and burned someone, I would have got shot or stabbed. Because I'm not from that neighborhood. I've seen it happen. We went to a neighborhood, we rocked, the guy got shot. I wasn't part of that, I was in the circle. The guy got burned, he didn't like it, he went back, came back later on, and shot the guy who burned him. So that's the way it was back then. Another time, guy got burned, his back was faced against the fence. Sure enough, he got stabbed through the fence. So these are the perils that were going on during that time. So you have to respect neighborhoods and respect people, you know, because if you didn't and you burned the guy, you took a chance of not leaving that place safe. You know what I'm saying?